As the housing bubble was beginning to burst in 2007, Standard & Poor's was still giving glowing ratings to mortgage-backed securities that some of its own analysts feared would go bad. Attorney General Eric Holder said today the nation's largest rating agency was knowingly executing a scheme to defraud investors and pump up its profits.
Put simply, this alleged conduct is egregious, and it goes to the very heart of the recent financial crisis.
The government's 124-page complaint cites internal documents, like this instant message exchange between two S&P analysts. That deal is ridiculous, the first says. I know, right, the second answers. Model definitely does not capture half of the risk. We should not be rating it, the first goes on. We rate every deal, the second analyst says. It could be structured by cows, and we would rate it.
The government produced emails that suggest there were people within Standard & Poor's who thought the ratings were underestimating the risk.
That's true. There were lots of debates, some of them angry, some of them accusatory. This was a tough time.
But Floyd Abrams, attorney for Standard & Poor's, says S&P's ratings were identical to the other agencies and to the projections of the Treasury and the Fed.
No one there thought it would be anything as catastrophic as what it turned out to be. But that's not fraud, and it's fraud that the government is accusing us of.
The civil suit comes after a 3-year investigation.
How difficult is this case to prove?
Burden of proof here is lower because it's a civil case, not a criminal case.
Jacob Frankel is a former SEC attorney.
So the fact that they're able to show deceptive conduct, whether it be intentional, reckless, or grossly negligent, that's going to be sufficient to establish its case.
The government is going after $5 billion in penalties from Standard & Poor's to cover losses to investors like federally insured banks and state pension funds.
Anthony, the collapse was 5 years ago. Yeah. Why did the government take so long to bring a case?
Investigators tell me typically these complicated cases take years to build. I mean, this investigation began in 2009, and in this case, the government's had to go through 20 million pages of internal Standard & Poor's documents.
Anthony, thanks very much.